every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us on CoreTV Primetime News. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. In our major story, a Bristol helicopter carrying 12 people crashes into the lagoon in Lagos, killing 4, 6 injured and 2 still missing. Also on this program, Chadian President Idris Deby says Abubakar Shekau has been deposed as leader of Boko Haram. The new leader, Mohamed Daudu, who was keen to speak to Nigerian authorities. Traditional chiefs in Ile-Ife announced the death of the Oni Oba Okumade Shijuade Olubuse II. And outside Nigeria, former U.S. Secretary of State and presidential hopeful Hillary Clinton set to hand over email server to the FBI as controversy over email continues. Thanks for joining us again. 4 dead bodies and 6 survivors were recovered from a helicopter crash in the Oroshoki area of Lagos State earlier today. The Bristol helicopter, which was heading to Lagos from oil rigs in Ondo State, was carrying workers who were coming for a 2-week recess after being offshore for 2 weeks and crashed about 3 p.m. into the lagoon. Abiola Oluwole was at the scene of the accident.
Residents of Oronshoki, a suburb in Koshofe local government area of Lagos State, had everything going normal on Wednesday till around 3 p.m. when they heard a strange noise around the lagoon. The curious search for the cause of the sudden and huge noise led them to the discovery of a helicopter in the lagoon. The accident happened behind Alonge police station in the area. According to the Lagos State Deputy Governor, Idiat Adebule, who spoke on behalf of the rescue team, said there were 6 survivors from the crashed chopper, while 4 dead bodies were also recovered from the site of the accident out of the 12 people on board of the helicopter.
This is an unfortunate incident, an emergency that we didn't prevent. It happened this afternoon, according to the reports, around 3:10 this afternoon. And we learned there are about 12 people on board. The rescue operation is still on. About 6 people have been rescued. They've been taken to the hospital. We found some that are dead, about 4 of them. Some are they're still searching for some 2 bodies. And of course, the operation continues. And until we hear the full, the whole operation is over, we cannot continue to brief the press.
It was challenging for the security operatives to control crowd at the site of the air mishap. Rescue operations are on as at the time of filing this report. Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News, Lagos.
President Muhammadu Buhari has thrown a challenge to Nigerian youths both home and abroad in commemoration of this year's International Youth Day. The president posed the question via his Twitter handle at @MBuhari on Wednesday. It raised, is there a young Nigerian who has inspired you recently? While imploring respondents to use the hashtag IYDNG2015 with their entries. Meanwhile, the hashtag started trending on Wednesday afternoon as responses from Nigerian youths flooded various social media platforms. The theme for the 2015 International Youth Day was tagged Youth Civic Engagement, which the president said was apt considering the vital roles young Nigerians played in the 2015 elections. Meanwhile, the president has assured private sector of an enabling environment for them to provide job opportunities for young people. This, he says, is aside from his administration's resolve to strengthen job creation institutions in the public sector, as well as provide adequate infrastructure. President Buhari also pledged to pay special attention to the growth of small and medium-scale enterprises. He was speaking at an event commemorating the 2015 International Youth Day with the theme Youth Civic Engagement at the Presidential Villa in Abuja.
To strive so as to ensure greater opportunities for jobs to be created for our young people. This, we believe, will assist in reducing criminal activities and terrorism. We have resolved to provide adequate infrastructure and strengthen our job creation institutions in order to increase opportunities for our young people.
This year's event, a provision has also been made for a few federal government job creation institutions to exhibit the abundant opportunities available in their organizations with a view to interacting with existing and potential youth entrepreneurs. In this category, we have the Bank of Industry, SMEDAN, and the Institute of Mining and Geosciences, which Mr. President has just inspected.
Well, as the world celebrates International Youth Day, youths across the universe have used the opportunity to make statements. In Osun State, the youth have clamored for more inclusiveness in governance. Rashid has more from Osogbo.
I refuse to be a victim. Instead, I want to be part of the process. I want to be part of the process that drives the change.
That's the resolution of youths in Osun State as one of their resolutions in commemorating this year's International Day for the Youth. Meanwhile, as the youths clamor for more participation in governance, accusing the government of not doing enough, the government representative of the youth conference says the youth need value orientation in order to take their place in the decision-making process. The guest speaker, Bamidele Salam, however, opines that the youth should hold the government accountable while they also discharge their civic responsibilities.
Value orientation, you need to first of all let the youth even realize that on their own part, they need to consider certain things very critical and germane to the survival of the society in which they live in.
Leaders will start getting accountable because they know there's a vibrant population that is watching them, asking them questions, criticizing them when they are wrong, protesting against them when they are tyrannical.
For the conveners, the time is right for youths to take up the challenge of governance through active and positive participation in socio-political process.
Should be able to at least contribute our quota, and when someone someday, even in government or otherwise, sees that these youths are even moving, the change mantra that we are also all of us are clamoring for, or we are calling, or we've been clamoring. If we see that we are changing, we are doing things the way they should be, they know so well that at least then the society will be better for it.
While youths are advised to be responsible, analysts say the success or otherwise of Nigerian teeming youths rests on the shoulder of leaders at the helms of affairs. Rashid, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
Chadian President Idris Deby has announced that Abubakar Shekau is no longer the leader of Boko Haram. He said these at the news conference on the 55th anniversary of Chad's independence from France, that the group is now led by one Mahamat Daoud. Deby did not say how he got the information or what happened to Shekau, but pointed out that the new leader is keen on speaking with the Nigerian authorities. The Chadian president, however, advised the Buhari administration not to engage in talks with the terror group. He noted that the multinational joint force is capable of ending the Boko Haram insurgency before the end of the year. The Nigerian authorities are yet to comment on the new development. Meanwhile, Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu has made a strong case for the establishment of special anti-terrorism courts to strengthen the war against terrorism and insurgency in Africa. He made the call on Wednesday at the ongoing Africa Region Conference of the 46th Commonwealth Parliamentary Association in Nairobi, Kenya. Speaking on the role of Parliament in tackling the menace of terrorism in Africa, Senator Ekweremadu warned that terrorism was more widespread on the continent than was generally recognized. He said ICT penetration in Africa meant that terrorist groups could now mobilize, train, establish, and maintain cells and links without the physical obstacles of borders. He therefore called on African nations to pay attention to reform of legal frameworks and institutions to fight terrorism. The Nigerian military authorities have condemned the spate of suicide attacks in the northeast in recent times. Acting defense spokesman Colonel Rabi Abubakar said in a statement that those behind the crimes are monsters whose activities will soon become a thing of the past. He maintained that the military is intensifying efforts now to neutralize the capabilities of the terrorists. The military also warns members of the public to be extra vigilant and be wary of strange faces and objects in their localities. We'll take a break now, and I'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
They talk to her husband that you should keep promise about what you said, because people are watching you. You know, another election is coming.
But some people will stand for Yoruba land. Will be strong man. We don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Is it warocracy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, child looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. They don't put words into my mouth.
Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute, I said to hell.
On Core Digest,
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday, we bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody has a right in Nigeria,
where you are the judge. Welcome back. If you just joined us, it's CoreTV Primetime News. Another look at our top stories. A Bristol helicopter carrying 12 people crashes into the Laguna, Lagos, killing 4, with 6 injured and 2 still missing. Chadian President Idris Deby says Abubakar Shekau has been deposed as leader of Boko Haram, with a new leader, Mohammed Daoud, who's keen to speak to Nigerian authorities. Traditional chiefs in Ile-Ife finally announced the death of the Oni Oba Okwadeshi II. You can get all of our top stories on any of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle is at CoreTV News NG, and we'll stream live on YouTube. It's youtube.com/CoreTV, live space and news. The immediate past Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Usman Jibrin, has called on Nigerians to support President Muhammadu Buhari in the fight against Boko Haram. Jibrin stated these at the putting out parade at Western Naval Command in Lagos. Jibrin, who also solicited the support of the new Chief of Naval Officer, Rear Admiral Ibo Thibas, says intelligence gathering is vital if the success recorded in the fight against insurgents must be consolidated on.
The good people of Nigerians to support Mr. President and the military forces, the security agencies, for them to be able to do their job, believing in the effectiveness of intelligence gathering. Nigerians must provide the needed intelligence for the security operatives to be able to identify there will be bombers, suicide bombers, especially monitoring to the extent that we can unravel where they are making their IEDs, improvised explosive devices. These people are amongst us. They are very difficult for us to identify when we don't have the needed information, especially intelligence.
Climax of the pulling out ceremony was the selling off the former naval chief and accompanying with his family members. Meanwhile, the police high command has promised to close the gap existing between the police and the citizenry for a better policing in the country. This, it says, is necessary to restore public confidence and motivate the citizens to see crime fighting and national security management as a joint responsibility with the state. First Public Relations Officer Emmanuel Ojukwu said this at a press conference in preparation for the forthcoming National Security Summit in Abuja. He maintained that the Security Summit will help address the current national security challenges.
It requires a strong synergy between security agencies and relevant security stakeholders. The summit is therefore designed to galvanize citizen support for Nigeria Police Force and other law enforcement agencies in the renewed drive by our President to address current national security challenges. Being the noble idea of the Inspector of Police Solomon Arase, the summit, among others, is aimed at achieving the following objectives. Number one, to enlighten strategic security stakeholders and citizens at the grassroots of their invaluable role in national security architecture.
Governor Adams Oshiomhole has assured internally displaced persons in Edo State that they would not be relocated despite rumor that attempts were made to relocate them last week. About 1,300 persons, including 900 affected by Boko Haram insurgency, are currently camped in the state by International Christian Center for Mission. Governor Adams Oshiomhole gave the assurance when he visited the camp alongside his wife, Ira Oshiomhole, and the State Police Commissioner of Police. Our Edo State correspondent fought in the support. The governor, while assuring them of his promise, noted that every Nigerian reserved the right to live and be treated well wherever they choose in any part of the country, and that the earlier move to relocate them was a rumor. The governor was paying his first official visit to the center.
I can see they come from different parts of the country, from Borno, from UB, from Adamawa, etc., and they are very young children. We'll have to do everything to ensure that they are comfortable. And we have discussed with the security agencies. They will ensure that adequate security is provided to protect these children. And those of them that we have identified their parents will arrange at the expense of Edo State government, will arrange for their parents to come here.
The center coordinator, Solomon Folorenshaw, who expressed joy at the governor's visit and the support to the center, said the children are all happy and thanked all those who have helped them thus far.
You can see them, they are more than 1,000. I think it's okay. And also NEMA, you know, if you see now the children, NEMA have supplied food, they've supplied tents, they've supplied beans. NEMA is doing a great job here. And Red Cross and everyone is involved. Everyone is involved, yes.
Some of the displaced children who spoke thanked the governor for the visit and his promise to assist them.
We really thank God for how God puts our love in the heart of our daddy. How he's so humble to come and visit us. We really thank God, and there is nothing we can give him. Only God Almighty will meet him at his point of his need in Jesus' name. And all what he's promised, we will pray that God will provide all what he's need, and he will fulfill his promise in Jesus' name. We really thank him. We thank you, sir. Thank you, Daddy. God bless you.
The governor, after meeting with the displaced, where NEMA, churches, organizations, and other spirited individuals have preferred assistance, took time to inspect the camp to underscore the challenge and the needs of the people. Consequent upon the conclusion of Oro, a traditional ritual that heralds the announcement of an Oni's demise, the news of the death of Oni Shijuade Olubushe II has been officially announced to the state government by the Ife Council of Chiefs at the brief meeting in Osogbo, the state capital. Rashid has more in this report.
In the past few weeks, the news of Oni's death has been generating speculations. The recent is the announcement of Oro ritual, a part of the traditional rite that consequently announces the death of a sitting Oni through the closure of markets and restriction of movements. While the said traditional ritual have earlier been announced to take place on Wednesday, August 12, 2015, the traditional chiefs have debunked this. Meanwhile, in a quick response to earlier announcement of market closure, residents of Ife have stormed the markets in their metropolis in an apparent last-minute buying of foodstuffs.
They told us say no market tomorrow. That's why we are just saying we are finished everything today. Everything today, that's why.
The speculations surrounding the death of Onishijuade Olubuse has finally been laid to rest. The traditional announcement earlier carried out in Ile-Ife early Wednesday with Oro ritual paved way for the Ife Traditional Council, accompanied by relatives of the dead monarch, to announce the passing away of the revered Yoruba king at the government house in Osogbo.
The world is a stage. Only men and women are actors and actresses. They play their stage in turn. And when the play is over, they will turn back to their respective home.
In an emotion-laden moment, the governor receiving the news extolled the virtue of the paramount ruler while reading his last correspondence with Oni Olubuse a day to his death.
Your Excellency, I'm still not feeling too good. So I'm traveling abroad for further medical attention this week. I place you in the I place you and the government under God's continuous guidance.
With the rites of passage finally concluded, the burial of the revered Oni is slated for Friday. Rashid, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has extended condolences to the family, friends, associates and subjects, as well as the government and people of Osun State on the death of one of Nigeria's foremost traditional rulers, the Oni of Ife, Oba Okwade Shijuade Olubushe II. This was contained in a statement released on Wednesday in Abuja by Femi Adesina, the president's special advisor on media and publicity. The statement said that the president received the news with sadness, while noting that the late Oba Okwade will be long remembered and celebrated for his worthy service spanning well over 3 decades. The Senate has suspended plans to cut its wage bill and opted instead to liaise with members of the House of Representatives. This was the outcome of a closed-door meeting on the report of the Senate Ad hoc Committee on the review of finances of the Senate. After a brief public screening of the former secretary, after the executive session, Senate President Bukola Saraki announced that the federal lawmakers had agreed to step down the report till a later date. Interim spokesman for the Senate, Dino Malaye, later addressed a news conference where he explained why senators would have to confer with members of the House of Reps.
What Nigerians are expecting from the Senate will meet. The Senate, I repeat, deliberated on the report. The Senate is ready to make sacrifice for the purpose of developmental purposes, and that already have been indicated even in the Appropriation Act 2015. For the past 5 years, the budget of the National Assembly has always been 150 billion. But in the 2015 budget of the National Assembly, it's 120 billion. Already there has been a reduction of 30 billion in the budget of the National Assembly. And this 120 billion is to be shared among about 6-7 organs of the National Assembly. The National Assembly Service Commission, the Senate, the House of Representatives, the Institute, code of conduct, including salaries and allowances of legislative aides, numbering over 3,000.
The Senate has confirmed the appointment of Abdullahi Kaugama as the resident electoral commissioner for Jigawa State. This was after a brief public screening of the former secretary of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Kaugama, who left INEC in 2013 at the expiration of his 5-year tenure, was nominated for the new job by President Muhammadu Buhari.
As the former National Secretary of the Commission, I know the preparation of all those 2015 elections was made together with me.
I'll put the question. Will the Senate confirm the appointment of Mr. Abdullahi Kaugama as a resident electoral commissioner at Jigawa State in the Independent National Electoral Commission? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Mr. Abdullahi Kaugama is hereby confirmed as a resident electoral commissioner in Jigawa State in the Independent National Electoral Commission.
Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has sworn in 13 commissioners with a charge that he expects them to do things different from the old ways. Speaking at the swearing-in ceremony, the governor maintained that none of the commissioners lobbied for the job. He added that the commissioners were not appointed to represent the local government, religion, or ethnic group, but to serve the people. Governor El-Rufai also urged members of the new cabinet to therefore work in harmony with the permanent secretaries, many of whom he noted are older than them. He pointed that if there are disagreements, the commissioners are free to meet the head of service, secretary to the state government, the deputy governor, or himself for amicable resolution. A cross-section of Nigerian broadcasters have decried the nation's failure to meet the deadline for migration from analog to digital broadcasting. They made this known in Abuja at an interactive forum organized by the BBC Media Action Nigeria for program managers of television stations in the country. The participants noted that it will not augur well for the future of the industry if Nigeria fails to achieve a successful switch to digital broadcasting in the next 2 years. Basil Okafo has more in this report presented from our studios.
All the days that you reviewed. Yes.
This media interactive forum has as its theme consolidating on content development and revenue generation in a digitized Nigeria. Participants here say they are now better equipped to add more value to their organizations after being exposed to the workshop.
We've been benefiting over the years, and for me, this particular workshop has enhanced my quality in terms of administration. I'm not going to be the same again because I've learned lots of things.
One of the most important things for any media organization is to remain in business. To remain in business, you need to continue to give people what they want in the line or in the light of your philosophy as an organization. So you need to give them good content, which will be able to generate revenue from you directly or indirectly. And that's what the whole workshop is about.
But one thing that also agitates their mind is the readiness of broadcast outfits in the country to achieve full digitization.
For me, I was sad because I made my government to commit huge sums of money to change everything in my station, beautify my studio, digitize my studio, ready to go. We are ready. We even picked our signal carriers, you know, only to be told at the end of the day that the thing was not feasible as at last year again. So we were sad, and therefore my advice to the National Broadcasting Commission and the media owners, the next 2 years must not slip by us.
The disappointment of any media organization to think that they have 2 years. You don't have 2 years. We are ready. In my organization, we are already digital. The only thing is, how are we broadcasting? That's the only thing that we have right now. Many organizations who are still thinking that they have time, they do not have time, and it's in their own interest to get off of their butts now and do something.
Developing local content that will compete favorably with foreign ones was also another issue of concern. They say for broadcast organizations in the country to churn out good content, the owners must be prepared to invest in research and personal training.
A whole lot of stations don't do research, and that has held us back in so many areas where we should have excelled. We take a lot of things for granted. We even take our audience for granted, thinking that we know what they want.
From this session, the first thing I got is the importance of research, the importance of audience research to know exactly what your consumers want. And I think that's like the most profound thing. And also to understand that it's not as expensive as we think.
For now, they say they have what it takes to ensure Nigerians enjoy TV programming, but they are also hopeful for a more conducive environment from the broadcast industry to thrive.
Now to business. President Muhammadu Buhari said in Abuja that his administration will give the fullest possible attention to boosting power supply in Nigeria because he was convinced that steady electricity will launch the country into faster socio-economic development. Speaking after being briefed by the Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Power, Ambassador Godnose Egali, President Buhari said that his administration had already identified the critical problems in Nigeria's power sector and was taking appropriate actions to address them. The president said that his administration had also prioritized certain measures in its action plan to boost electricity supply in Nigeria. The House of Representatives has urged the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) to direct telecommunication service providers in the country to put a stop to unsolicited caller tunes. It also mandated its Committee on Communications, when constituted, to liaise with the NCC to this effect and report to the House within 2 months. The motion was raised by Aliyu Sani Madaki, representing Dala constituency, who lamented the mobile service providers charge subscribers for unsolicited caller tunes in contravention of the 2003 NCC Act.
Unsolicited caller tunes are most often offensive and unpleasant. Again, worried that the service provided. Just for clarity, let me read section 37 of the Constitution. It says the privacy of citizens, their homes, correspondence, telephone conversations, and telegraphic communications is hereby guaranteed and protected. So therefore, Mr. Speaker, this motion touches on major areas of a citizen's life. And it is from that perspective that I want us to look at it. In setting up any committee we're going to set up, let it be holistic. Let us identify the laws that are already in place that are being violated by the acts of these service providers, and so that we can bring down the hammer. We can bring down the hammer, and wherever they come from, whether it's South Africa, whether it's Dubai, these service providers, there are laws that protect their citizens against such things. Nigeria is not a dumping ground.
And here is a scenario or a situation where people are being exploited on a daily basis, following up with the level of high capital flight. I believe that I'm not against anybody doing genuine business. I support everybody doing genuine business. But the level of exploitation, specifically as it borders on some of these sharp practices, must be discouraged.
The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria (MAN) on Tuesday decried the low level of the nation's external reserves, which stood at $31.537 billion, as of last Friday. The president of MAN, Dr. Frank Udemba, said external reserves stood at $29.01 billion at the end of the second quarter of 2015, as against the $29.62 billion of the first quarter of the current year, representing $0.61, and that's 2.1% decline over the period. He said the policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria, barring 41 imported products, were some of which are input materials for manufacturing from the exchange market, constituted a huge setback to the sector especially as the sector was still beset with infrastructure and other challenges. While the naira eased against the dollar on the parallel market on Tuesday, driven by demand mainly from individuals traveling abroad for summer holidays and importers, the local currency was quoted at 224 naira to the greenback on the unofficial market, 0.89% weaker from 222 naira the previous day. While on the official interbank market, the naira ended at 197 naira, a level it has been stuck at following a central bank's peg on the exchange rate in February. All was said the bank sold around $160 million to BDCs last week to increase dollar supply. Now, BDCs are allowed to sell up to $4,000 as personal traveling allowance and $5,000 as business traveling allowance. However, individuals sometimes buy above the stipulated dollar limit from the undocumented parallel market. And to other stories outside Nigeria now, China's central bank has again cut the guidance rate for the national currency, the yuan, a day after Tuesday's record 1.9 devaluation. Now, the move sent fresh shockwaves through Asian markets, but the bank has sought to calm fears, saying it was not the start of a sustained depreciation. The yuan fell another one on Wednesday, marking the biggest lowering of its rate against the dollar in more than 2 decades. The new rate is meant to boost exports, and figures released at the weekend showed Chinese exports fell more than 8 in July, now adding to concerns the world's second largest economy is heading for a slowdown. Hillary Clinton has now handed over to the FBI the private email server that she used as Secretary of State. Her use of private email has generated a barrage of criticisms as Mrs. Clinton runs for president. Critics say that her setup was unsecure, contrary to government policy, and designed to shield her communications from oversight. The FBI is investigating whether classified information was improperly sent via the server and stored there. Clinton initially handed over thousands of pages of emails to the State Department, but not the server. Her lawyers will also hand over to the FBI memory sticks which contain the copies of the emails. Her use of private email has been a major issue in the presidential race. Polls show an increasing number of votes view her as untrustworthy, due in part to the questions surrounding our email use. And now to sports stories making headlines. As part of efforts to remember Nigeria's fallen football hero Samuel Okparaji, who died 26 years ago on the field of play, members of the House of Representatives want him immortalized. Raising a motion of urgent public importance, the member representing Kababono Ijimo, Tajuddin Yusuf, stated that the federal and Imo state government must do more to preserve the name and achievements of the late footballer. Supporting the motion, Deputy Whip Pali Riase suggested that the prayer should be extended to include other deserving individuals to serve as role model to youths.
Today marked 26 years of his death, and I think as a House of the People, we need to bring to fore to the knowledge of Nigerians and the people in government the need to show honor, respect for such people as Sam Okparaji.
This great patriot actually ensured that he gave his all to this country. And so to that extent, nothing done now can be too much to salute the courage and the spirit of patriotism that he brought to bear in sport.
Chelsea goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois will miss the Champions visit to Manchester City on Sunday after an appeal against a red card for the Belgian international was rejected by the Football Association. Courtiers were sent off for denying a goal-scoring opportunity in the 52nd minute of Chelsea's 2-2 draw against Swansea City at Stamford Bridge on Saturday. An independent regulatory commission rejected Chelsea's appeal against the red card and upheld a one-match suspension. The ruling will give backup keeper Asper Begovic, signed from Stoke City earlier this summer as a replacement for Peter Cech, the chance to make his first Premier League start for Chelsea. Barcelona Secretary Robert Fernandez has confirmed that Barcelona forward Pedro Rodriguez wants to lead the Spanish side. Pedro has been linked with Manchester United as the Premier League side look to replace Angel Di Maria. The 28-year-old scored the winner as the Catalan club beat Sevilla 5-4 in a thrilling Super Cup on Tuesday. To end CoreTV Primetime News, another look at the top stories. Four dead bodies and 6 survivors recovered from an helicopter crash in Oroshoki area of Lagos State. Chadian President Idris Deby says Abubakar Shekau has been deposed as leader of Boko Haram, with a new leader seeking to speak and negotiate with Nigerian authorities. Traditional chiefs have finally in Ile-Ife announced the death of the Oni Oba Kwadeshi Juade Olukoshe II. And that wraps it on the news tonight. On behalf of everyone here, I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.